Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Friday, August 24th, 2018. The main fire potential impacts for the next couple of days include some dry, gusty conditions over southern Idaho and southern Utah and southern Nevada for today and tomorrow. And then on Sunday, we're looking for a much stronger wind day across much of the geographic area and some precipitation moving into the higher elevations of Idaho. Thunderstorm activity was limited to southern Utah yesterday, where we had some pretty active, generally wet thunderstorms. Fire activity remains most active over northern Nevada and western Idaho, where conditions have been dry for the past week or so. This is a loop of where we can expect to see smoke over the next couple of days. Today we're seeing smoke here moving into northern Utah, and over the next few days as the flow turns to more southwesterly, especially by Sunday, we'll see some of that smoke moving off to the north and the east. Precipitation for the past 14 and 30 days is shown here, with Idaho and northern and western Nevada really being the dry spots for the past couple of weeks. Northwest Utah has received some precipitation recently, but there are definitely still some dry pockets there. ERC trends have been coming down a bit over the last week or so, particularly over Utah, where many of those values in southern and eastern portions of the state are down below the 50th percentile. However, over western and central Idaho and northern Nevada, conditions are still quite dry, and there's still one station that's sitting above the 97th percentile. Taking a closer look at these trends, the mountains of central Idaho have come down in the last week or so from those near record setting levels that we had up there, but they're still near normal for the time of year. And the values over northern Nevada remain quite high for the time of year, not quite record setting, but pretty darn close. This morning's satellite imagery is showing a trough of low pressure moving through the Pacific Northwest this morning. That's bringing an increase in winds, particularly to Idaho and the southern tier of the Great Basin today. For this afternoon, we have issued high risk for south central Idaho and northeast Nevada for those gusty winds out ahead of that trough. We can see drier air moving into Nevada as well. Taking a closer look at those gustier winds, the strongest winds will be in place over south central and southeast Idaho, with some gusts also over the southern tier of the Great Basin. Minimum relative humidities are quite low, particularly over Nevada and western Utah, with values below 10%. Dry gusty conditions will continue into Saturday. Although winds might die down just a little bit, we've only highlighted one PSA there in south central Idaho for those strong winds. Winds will be strongest there in eastern Idaho and then also over the southern Great Basin. Minimum relative humidities drop just a bit going into Saturday with those lows in the single digits. Sunday is the big day for some change coming to the Great Basin. We have widespread wind gusts above 35 to 40 miles an hour in place over southern Idaho, much of Nevada and northwest Utah, and we'll also see some moisture come into the mountains of central Idaho as a stronger trough moves into the Pacific Northwest and northern Rockies. The wind gusts are shown here with the strongest winds over eastern Idaho and western Wyoming, with some pretty good gusts there over northern Nevada and portions of Utah as well. The precipitation image is shown on the right, with the best chance of some of that precip coming to the higher elevations of mainly western Idaho. The 3-day precipitation accumulations are shown here. Over the next couple of days, we'll continue to see some high elevation isolated storms popping up over the mountains of central and eastern Utah. But as we look towards the Monday timeframe, the next trough will drop into the Pacific Northwest and northern Rockies and bring some of that precipitation to the higher elevations of Idaho. On Monday, that trough of low pressure will continue its journey to the east, but still leaving some isolated showers and thunderstorms in the higher elevations there on its way out on Monday, with some drier westerly flow moving into Utah and Nevada. More of this dry pattern is expected on Tuesday, and that will continue into Wednesday. We may see some gusty winds pick up once again over the geographic area out ahead of another trough moving into the Pacific Northwest. This trough will draw a little bit closer to the Great Basin by Thursday and could bring showers once again to the higher elevations of northern and western Idaho. And the 7-day precip totals are shown here. The main change here is more precipitation coming to the mountains of central Idaho by midweek next week, where Utah and Nevada will stay dry. The extended forecast from the Climate Prediction Center is calling for below normal temperatures along the west coast and above normal temperatures to our east. So that's going to put us in that somewhere near normal range with near normal chances for precipitation. This concludes today's fire potential briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.